Hello everyone, this is Source Codex, aka Jazz Fusion Guy here, and I have started another raised bed for my wife who wants to plant this with not only low plants that'll trail over the walls, but she also, I believe, is going to want a larger plant like a tree, which is going to be probably somewhere in there. Now, laying out landscape timbers, there's a bazillion and one YouTubes out there for laying how to lay landscape timbers down. You might wonder why the odd shape of this bed. Well, this wall parallels my new deck. This wall parallels this old bed here, and both of these trails are big enough to easily walk through and have a wheelbarrow. And the other wall, it parallels this raised bed here along our rock wall in front of our bamboo. And lastly, this wall here somewhat parallels that raised bed over there. So there is some design in what seems to be an oddball design. Now, what we are going to do is I'm going to dig down, which I've already started, and remove like 4 inches of this Chapel Hill gravel soil mix, and it is going to get piled up over here. And once I get deep down enough, maybe 4 or 5 inches of a hole here, I'm going to add some Hügelkultur. You might say, what is that? Well, let's go look at some Hügelkultur. Well, basically, Hügelkultur is anything you might find around your property of non-rotted, non-decomposed plant material. And I have somewhat of a pile of it here. Now, along with something like sticks and whatnot, and I am going to be sawing up this old crepe myrtle wood that you see lying here. Hügelkultur can be leaves, pine straw. And the thing is, it'll create a nice bed underneath for when you want to add your topsoil and whatnot. It saves you a good amount of money doing this, adding Hügelkultur like I did in this bed here that's covered with pine straw. The Hügelkultur, what it does, not only is it good decomposed plant material that'll be under your soil addition here, but it'll save you money in bringing the level up when you are adding your topsoil and whatnot. You won't have as much cubic volume to fill in. I thought I would film up here out of the rain in my bamboo stand to discuss a little bit more of what I wanted to bring out and clue you in about this bed. Now, like I was saying, once this Chapel Hill gravel is out and we start putting the Hügelkultur in, be it sticks, large limbs, pine straw, whatever, My father-in-law lives on a 440-acre farm, so when we visit him, we might take a 5-gallon bucket with us and say, "Hey, Dad, can I have some soil to take back home to use?" And he'll be like, "Okay." So we've got multiple sources of where we can get our soil from. Now, when it is built up, the Hügelkultur and other soil and topsoil, I'll probably hit Home Depot and Lowe's and look for broken bags of topsoil, peat moss, other things like that, and buy them at a discount to fill this up. Because a bed this deep, 3 levels high, can be quite costly. Now, as far as the sun, we kind of know what will grow here as far as a mixed partial shade area. Now, as far as back to the bed, what I like to do is the first level I like to put in with 12-inch rebars to hold it nice and snug to the ground. The next level up, the second level, I like to use short landscaping nails. And then the final level, I like to use the 12-inch rebars again. And one thing that can help when you're going through a lot of levels of wood with a 12-inch rebar is when you're drilling your first hole and you hit your second level, go ahead and remove that board, go into your second level, and then use your spade bit to go down into your bottom level, or whatever size bed it is. It'll be the next level below the level just under the top level. And that makes it a lot easier to take your sledgehammer and put your rebars through. And then what I always do is I take like 2.5-inch decking screws and I screw them in at an angle to tie all the 4 corners of each level in and snug them in nice and tight. For digging these nice straight edges going down at a controlled depth, I like to use a shovel like this. Nice flat edge, kind of narrow, and what I found is when I was digging down, I actually had a leverage point on this top landscape timber so I could pull the shovel back and knock the dirt up high. So the next video is going to have all of this Chapel Hill soil or gravel or grit and soil mix out. It'll be piled up right over there for later use somewhere else. And then I'll show you placement of Hügelkultur, or organic material. Well, the first level of Chapel Hill gravel has been pulled out. I dug around the edges of things here and tipped the dirt into the center. And I took a coal shovel and went in along the top of the ground where I have not broke the soil up yet. And that's a pretty good size pile we've got going there. So later on, when I feel like it, I'll get back out and do some more. Well, the final horizon of Chapel Hill gravel or grit has been dug up. I went down about the same depth everywhere in the bed, and I hit it with a blast of water, trying to see if there was really any more Chapel Hill gravel and there's not. What we actually got down to is the tips of pretty large stones, some superficial, some bigger and deep. And my wife and I agreed we don't need to go to great lengths trying to get all that up. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to start adding the organic matter, or as it is well known as Hügelkultur. The Hügelkultur is beginning. Let's add some more. You'll see here in another part of my backyard where I've taken a leaf blower and blown away a whole lot of leaves and pine. The people use as mulch. This can go in the bed as Hügelkultur. I can come in here with my pitchfork, wheelbarrow, and get up a bunch of this stuff. Now I realize that pine is going to add to the acidity of the soil, which azaleas love. But that far down, I'm not worried about it messing up the pH of the soil. So what else can I put in? In my side yard and in my front yard, seeing as that it is that time of year for leaf fall, all this, bushels and bushels and bushels of this, it can all serve as mulch. And the way I'm going to harvest this stuff is not by using a wheelbarrow, but I'm just going to get a drop cloth and lay probably in the driveway here. And I'm just going to rake everything into the drop cloth and drag it to the backyard, to the bed. Yes, there's more. I purposefully let these broadleaf weeds grow so I can take a hoe at ground level and snap these right off. There's no seeds that would allow for propagation, so all this is a simple swipe of the hoe at ground level, and I've got more Hügelkultur. Yes, indeed. Now, stuff that falls underneath bamboo, I do not recommend putting that in your Hügelkultur bed. Not because I'm afraid that bamboo would sprout from there, but if you notice, underneath the bamboo, there is nothing growing really other than bamboo. And when we put this bed in here and here, we let a whole lot of bamboo leaves pile up in here, and then we planted. And it was just basically stagnant. The plants just didn't want to grow at all. Then when I took a pitchfork and a rake and I got all the bamboo leaves out and just left the plants in bare ground, they took off. So as is found in the underseas and moss growing on a rock, different plants put out like chemical barriers, so to speak, so that they could dominate the area. And I do believe bamboo is that kind of plant. So, in my opinion, this stuff, like right here, that bamboo leaf, it's got something in it that interferes with other plants growing in that soil. So do not put bamboo organic matter in your bed. As I said, I was going to get up all these broadleaf weeds along here, and I just loaded them up on a rake. And there you go. Hügelkultur is coming along. So we got deciduous leaves to put in, and then next pine straw. And we should get things up, I would think, to at least that second landscape timber. And then we can add our soil from there up. And the soil, of course, is going to, whatever we put in here, it's going to fill in voids. But it's then going to stack up on top of itself. And all this cubic volume, as I stated before, it's going to turn into soil eventually, but it's saving us a lot of money up front, not having to buy bags and bags and bags of soil. I believe we have enough Hügelkultur organic matter to continue with adding some topsoil and some peat moss and assorted soils that I might find at Home Depot and Lowe's. So the Hügelkultur step is finished. Of course, when time has its run, rain and snow and all that good stuff, this is going to sink down and start decomposing at the bottom, and the soil applied to the top will help. Other videos may not report it, but I would say this would be a bed preparation that you don't need to be in a hurry. You're going to want this stuff to break down some. And as you add the soil, you can see over time as it sinks and how much more soil you may want to add. I use the rake there to evenly distribute and fill in voids with the deciduous leaves and the pine straw. As I said, the Hügelkultur distribution part is pretty much done, and I've started filling in topsoil. That's 2 bags worth I had left over from another job, and we will just continue with this infilling over time. There's no hurry, and that's pretty much it for doing a raised bed with Hügelkultur. You'll notice that pile of Chapel Hill gravel is now gone. It has been distributed all in there. This was an uneven place that kind of went like this. So now we're level. I've tamped it down. And that's the color Chapel Hill gravel and a mix of soil looks like when you first put it out, but over time it will dry down to this lighter color. So I hope you learned something. Time for me to take a break until my next project. My dear wife decided that we didn't have enough Hügelkultur in there, so she and I together raked up all the leaves from the front yard, and she brought them around back and put them in, and there we have it. Happy wife, happy life. So, as I said, we're not in a real hurry to start planting this bed. So, given rain, snow, time, this will compact down, and as we throw more soil, peat moss and whatever on top of it, we will get it to the state and the place where we are ready to plant. So don't be afraid, if you're not in a hurry, to go ahead and really load it up. It's pretty high up above the edge of the bed, but it will be ready quicker than we realize. All right, folks, happy raised beds, happy composting organic material and Hügelkultur and all that good stuff. Ciao.